notes on vinyl and vision.
I'm really getting used to that theme song. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into our show. Jimmy Drab, your host. Vinyl Vision is the show. Tonight's guest is my dear friend, Steve Mattos. Currently of Chrome Jackson. He has been in other bands such as Arab on Radar, Athletic Automaton, and Doomsday Student. I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone, so I don't think so. But his current project, Chrome Jackson, which is a solo project, has a new album out. It actually came out March 18th, which is my birthday. That's amazing. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for that wonderful gift. I was hoping to get this show done a little earlier, a couple days earlier, as a matter of fact, because September 29th was Steve's birthday, and I'd like to wish him a very happy birthday, and I'd like to encourage all of you to find him on social media, wish him a happy birthday, belated of course, and no better birthday gift than to go ahead and pick up this album from him off of his Bandcamp page. It's currently $8 on the Bandcamp, and it comes with a download code, so you can actually download the whole record, all glorious 29 minutes of it. Steve's a wonderful man. I love him to death. He's a very good friend, and we just had a lot of fun with this show. It's fun to have him back on. He's actually he was actually my second guest, so it's really great to have him back on 2 years later. I can't remember the exact date, but I'm pretty sure I'm close to my second year anniversary right now. I probably already passed it, and I did not even acknowledge it. Oh well, these things happen. So, thanks to Steve for coming down. So much fun to talk about Chrome's Half Machine Lip Moves. That's their third album, released in 1979 on Siren Records. Really interesting band. Really great topic for us to discuss, because that band has a lot to do with the music scene in Providence in particular. I've been meaning to listen to it for a long time, and so I'm glad that I had this opportunity to delve in deep. So I encourage you guys to do the same. Buy the album from Steve, and do all the things you do with the internet. Please like, share, subscribe, and rate and review. How much do you fucking hate hearing that right now? But whatever, man. It does help. So please do it. You can leave a bad review. I don't care. Whatever you want. Whatever you feel. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and here is our show. So let's see. So Steve, 2 years ago you were here almost to the day.
Oh my God!
I think you were here in October.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like we're just almost reaching our 2-year anniversary.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've done things like this before. Like I've gone into like Armageddon Records to like check on merchandise and stuff, like what I've sold. Mm-hmm. And I swear to God, every year I go at the same time and I don't realize it. So I'm like, I don't know. It's weird. I guess it must be on like some kind of
biological clock.
My clock.
It's still ticking. That's good. So Steve, you're here again, which I'm happy about because I just love you to death. You're just such a great guy and so fun to talk about. Talk with, I'm sorry. Not talk about.
Talking about behind my back, yeah. No, I love you too, man. It's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Because I wanted to have you back on because you put out a new album. Would you call this a full-length album? 8 songs, half an hour about?
It is, yep. I mean, it is. It's, I might even be longer than the last one I put out. But I could be wrong about that. I'm trying to remember. I actually should have done my research on my own record in terms of the time. I don't remember how long it is now. But
the second one, Invertebrate Waltz, you're talking about.
oh well, no, I was saying how long this record is.
Oh,
but
this one's 29 minutes.
it says it. Okay, yeah, I think they're about similar length between the Majestic Flap Flap record and the Invertebrate Waltz. I think it's probably similar time, but I do think it's a couple minutes more.
It could be. Yeah, it's about the same. I'm not really positive myself, but Chrome Jackson, Majestic Flap Flap. So reading in the inlay just now, I just noticed that it says that the majority of these song titles were inspired by Maslin Crump.
Yes.
Age
Yeah.
8.
Yes. I don't know if you've like met the Crumplings or not, but yeah, of course.
Since I've seen them, it's Pat Crump's family, his kids.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, it was actually kind of it was really funny because we went over there for Christmas, and we've done this before where they've had us over for dinner, like for Christmas around.
Yeah.
I mean, not on Christmas, but pre-Christmas dinner thing. Christmas time, and it's become almost like a tradition. It was nice. We would go over there. But Maslin, she's like she's a card. You know, she is a funny kid. She's really inventive. She definitely, I mean, has like the type of personality that is like she's gonna probably be an actor or something. But she also plays. I know Pat is teaching her drums, but she's just got a wild imagination, and like she had. I don't even remember how it came up, but she had some sheet of paper with all these names on it, and they were so funny to me. They were just the most like kind of, you know, free, you know, sort of like, you know, what's the word for it? Free form, yeah, exactly. Just free expression because, you know, of her age.
Yeah.
It's the kind of the way your mind is, but she has a very special kind of mind like that.
Yeah.
And so she had written all these titles down for whatever reasons. They were things she saw or something. Maybe they were things she was describing certain things, and it was how she was writing the words down and how she was describing them, and they just looked so Dada-esque and abstract to me. And I had no titles, and I had been telling Alicia, I was like, I don't have any titles yet for this record, and it was like all of a sudden it was like a treasure trove, and I said, can I use these?
Yeah.
And so most of them are from her. They're similar. They are based on things she wrote down. I think it's fun to just say where these titles come from.
Sure.
Alicia and I were watching a Bob Ross episode on Netflix, right?
Oh, yeah.
Always fun, you know, amazing.
Oh,
yeah. And it said like Frosty Winter Morn, and both of us read it wrong, so I thought it said Frosty Winter Mom. I don't know, just thought it was really good.
Being married to, I guess, like her mom.
Yeah.
She has that cold shoulder to you. Kind of, you're like, oh, she's frosty, like your mom.
Exactly.
Cold,
and I guess, you know, yeah, and also with the ornament caw-caw, I guess you get a little bit of, you can tell when this record was made, right? It's like wintertime.
Yeah. Well, with you having told the story, I mean, I didn't know that you had Christmas, like some kind of Christmas dinner with the Crumps.
Yeah.
You know, because Pat Crump used to be your bandmate in
Yes.
Athletic Automaton.
Yes.
Which, you know, last episode I forgot to mention, Pat. I mean, you mentioned, like, I forgot about Athletic Automaton, but...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were a band for...
music, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, just the two of us. He's an amazing drummer, just awesome guy. And so we started playing right, like not too long after Ara broke up, and I started seeing Pat like at Whole Foods. And we started talking, and it was sort of brought the subject up. I think even before I did, he was like, "Hey, you know, we should jam." I didn't really know what he was doing, so that's kind of how it started. We actually just started jamming together. He had a practice bass already, and yeah, it did click because we were kindred spirits in that way, and we liked the same kind of music. I liked Pelham 1-2-3 a lot, and I even always in the back of my mind, even though I love Arab Radio, but I always had this thought of being in a more free-form band that did longer jams, like in style of Can and Hawkwind, and I don't know, things like that were more opened up and kind of like psychedelic.
We might as well just get right into it. I've been really excited to get my hands on your record.
Yeah,
The record you chose tonight, which is also just something different from last time. Last time I actually asked you to be on and I gave you the record. I told you that I had this record I wanted to feature, which was John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band, which is a great record.
It's a great record, and it was great that you asked me, because I love that record, and I've always loved that record. I love the sound of that record.
Yeah.
I always loved the production, and I love the song. So it was great to do that record.
Yeah,
it really was.
But now it's your chance to actually feature the record that you think probably had a major influence on the way that you started making music.
It absolutely did. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when I think of growing up as a teenager, I was listening to metal and classic rock, Zeppelin, all that stuff. Still like all that stuff. But I feel like it was like the early, it was around 2021, and I started meeting people that had much more eclectic, interesting music tastes. And one of the people that was big for that for me was Jay Ryan from Six Finger Satellite, the singer. We used to work together at Whole Foods, and he would occasionally give me a mixtape. It was awesome because he would give me these amazing mixtapes, and there was one mixtape that had Stooges Funhouse, Chrome, Half Machine Lip Moves, and something else on it. And I had a couple tapes like that he had given me. Birthday Party. There was one that had Birthday Party Junkyard on it.
Like the full-length album on
No, a full-length on the tape. It was mixtape. It was the best mixtape ever. And the thing is, I didn't know some of those bands at the time. Mm-hmm. When I was 20, I definitely didn't know Chrome, and I didn't know the Birthday Party. I had heard of Nick Cave and the Stooges. I mean, I knew Iggy Pop. But honestly, I hadn't heard any of those records. And Chrome was one of the ones that was on there, and I completely was I'd never heard anything like them before.
Right.
And the first listen or two, I was like, what the fuck is this? And then it was just this is the best fucking thing I've ever heard. To me, it was so game-changing, along with, honestly, any of the other bands on that tape, the Birthday Party was also hugely influential to me. Once it's bands like Chrome and the Birthday Party were I feel what turned me over into a whole nother musical, it was I found the thing that I had been missing in my life musically, and it helped sort of open up my whole mind to music in a lot of ways. Getting it's the things that some of the influences that they had, a band like Chrome, it was you could hear where they were coming from. When you hear this record, you could tell they were into Hendrix, you could tell they were into just experimental music. They did all cut up tape loop stuff.
Right.
You could tell that they were into punk, that they were into just more avant-garde kind of music.
Right.
And
art in general.
Art in general, because in fact the two guys in Chrome, the main guys, are Damon Edge and Helios Creed. Right. And Damon Edge started the band.
Yeah.
And he's kind of it's him and Helios, no doubt, but Damon Edge is the guy that recorded the records. He did the artwork on these early records. And the very first Chrome album, The Visitation, Helios Creed wasn't even on there yet.
Right.
That's a great album, but definitely when Helios came on in '77 with the Alien Soundtracks record, you could see the shift of how they changed their sound. The Alien Soundtracks record and Half Machine Lip Moves, they're chop up records. It's almost like listening to a record version of the Dadaist, Exquisite Corpse, where you draw something and then you fold it over and you don't know what's going to be on the other.
Right.
You keep drawing and you don't even know what's on the other side of what you're drawing, or it's like William S. Burroughs with his like cut up writing when he did Naked Lunch and stuff like that. It's like he basically would just like put words together, you know. I mean, I think Chrome was more. It's not like they were completely doing random things like that, but when you listen to the record, it kind of just runs through.
Yeah.
And there are songs, but there's so many. Sometimes you don't even know where the song begins and where it ends.
Yeah, yeah, I had that problem because I was listening to this on digital format.
Yeah.
Just on earbuds. So I'm just like, what song am I on? I'd have to like look at it and be like, what track is this?
I had to do this. I've listened to this record so many times, and I don't often like look at the song titles.
Right.
I mean, I'm aware of the song titles like TV Has Eyes and you know, Abstract Nymph is all this stuff like that. Abstract Nympho. All these crazy titles, but you still don't know where they start and end, you know.
Oh yeah. That's why I'm kind of curious to look at the record. I just want to see.
Yes.
You know, a typical record. I mean, you know.
Yeah, please do. Have a look too.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
This, and I will say this about this record too. They, you know, they've been an obscure band, you know, for so long. They're one of those bands that like after the fact. Everybody like realized how great they were, and all the people who were into them were obviously like just into underground music. So, but there were, you know, bands like Six Finger, bands like Jesus Lizard, and you know, just like supposedly they're considered to be a band that helped start industrial music. Though I don't necessarily think of them as industrial music. I really think it's like hard to describe what they do. I think one thing to describe them as is like sci-fi alien punk, you know, with like
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Let me actually read you a quote that I found. So I found an interview with Damon Edge from 1980.
Oh wow, okay.
So this was I believe that he was at the time promoting Red Exposure, the follow-up album to this one.
Yes.
This, by the way, is Chrome Half Machine Lip Moves.
Yep.
From, let's do this right, released March 15, 1979 on Siren Records, which is Damon Edge's
That's his
own record label.
Yep.
So, so this quote is that the interviewer asked him, so, you know, can you describe your music? And so he says, what it is to me is like, well, I was in this might be read wrong. This might be written wrong, by the way. It was off the internet. Well, I was in search. I was trying to dig out from ourselves dreams, trying to find them on tape or to make them real. If we do a song and it is like dream. It's like an audio track to our dream. It's like a soundtrack to a dream you might have had, but you don't remember. But when you make the music and finish it, you start and see the dream that you had before. You didn't even remember it, but after you do the music, then you remember the dream because it's part of you. It's part of something that's way down deep in you, and you dig it out. Not every song we do gets that deep. And then he ends up asking the interviewer a question about, has he heard Alien soundtrack? So, so I mean, you gotta mind my choppy reading of that, but it's not written well. So
maybe it was translated, because I know that in 1980, I think it was 1980, he moved to Germany.
Oh, no, he moved to Paris, right?
Did he move to Paris? I thought he moved to Paris, but then he like ended up moving to Germany, or
I'm not sure. I didn't see anything about Germany, but I did see Paris. I saw that he was kind of going back and forth from like Paris to San Francisco.
Okay, it was Paris, not Paris. For some reason I thought it was Germany, but it's possible maybe that interview was translated from French or something, and so it has a little bit of like a choppiness to it. Or something.
I don't really remember, but it just could have been that they transcribed it from 1980. Yeah, like it was just this weird like website cataloging a bunch of like archived like interviews. Yeah, I don't remember the exact name of the website, but it could have just been that. So.
It's great that you found that, because honestly, there isn't really even that much stuff out there.
Not a lot of information about this band,
which is weird. Yeah. Well,
oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, and so this record, Alien Soundtracks and Half Machine Lip Moves were reissued on Touch and Go Records in the late 90s, like mid 90s or late 90s. So, and that's my first when I got my first copy of it was from that, was the reissues. But I had always wanted to get the originals. And so I like searched, as we all, as you do searches now, but back in the day, I was going up to Boston a lot, and I found this in Boston, and since it's Siren Records, it's definitely the original. It's an original, and it's got the insert with the lyrics.
I would imagine that this is an original. I actually haven't done any. I've never held one of these because I know how rare they are. I know how hard they are to come by. Minus maybe of course the reissues that have happened.
Yeah.
But you actually mentioned how you were looking for Chrome on the first episode. We were talking about crate digging and like record hunting. And you had said, it's just like, you just gave some hypothetical situation of just like, someone said that there's a copy of that in Boston. I'm just like, I gotta go find it.
That was seriously one of the bands that I was on my major search for to get the original vinyl, and like something like that in Birthday Party. Now, of course, not only are they, oh man, so much. I mean, I bought. It was probably in like the early 2000s. It was, as you can see, it was $30 at that point.
40. I think it was
40. Does it say 40? Oh, okay. All right.
$39.99.
Oh, okay.
Penny short.
Maybe it's the other one, that the Alien soundtracks or whatever that I have, and Visitation. I was able to get all of those, and it was I was on a hunt to get those, and it was great because the reissues that were Touch and Go, they didn't they didn't do like a replica reissue. It didn't have the insert, didn't have
I'm sure Touch and Go was all over it. They had their logo on it. They probably changed the labels.
Exactly. But I think so Helios Creed, he still goes as Chrome, and he's still performing. He has a label now himself too called Cleopatra Records.
Oh, is that what he's the one that's doing that? Okay.
Yeah, because as you know, Damon Edge died in like the 95. He was like, I don't know. I think things were rough for him at the end of his life because he got a divorce from his wife, and just seemed just seems like he wasn't doing as much because Helios Creed continued on after Chrome finished in '83 and started doing solo records with.
Right. It took some time before Helios ended up absorbing the name and kind of rehashing the catalog and performing under this name.
Because Damon Edge was going under Chrome himself too for a while when he was in Europe. He was
right.
Yeah, so
he
exactly.
He put out a few records on his own without Helios.
Yep. And I think you're right that also it's possible that around with him passing away, he was able to get the.
I'm just thinking about the track listing. There's nowhere for me to see the track listing.
Oh yeah, the only where the track listing is on the label labels. On the record. And just so you know, if you look at look at the lyrics, because the lyrics will tell you the song titles, but the lyrics are written
on that poster,
and they're all on the poster, and they're all kind of angled. They're not in a straight line, and it's not it's very hard to read.
All right. Yeah, I'll try to figure it out.
But
so the copy online that I've been listening to the iTunes digital version, and the only version of this album they have on iTunes includes that bonus, the Read Only Memory.
Oh Read Only Memory. Yeah, because that
So along with the same thing of not knowing where the tracks begin and end, for this album, I had no idea when that album started either. So I mean, like I said, I wasn't looking, and I didn't even know the original track listing for this album.
Yeah. It is on Wikipedia. If you look up and it does have the track listing there. But you're right that it's you can't you can't be if you can look at them on the record, but then you have to take the record off and then try to But I think it starts with TV as Eyes.
Yeah. And record. I didn't know it, so it was a little confusing for me. Because in addition to the perplexing the enigma that the songs are when you listen to it. Now we're not going to listen to the whole thing either, so we're just going to kind of give little pieces here and there. It'll be just like listening to the record, because that's kind of what it's like.
Yes.
But this was cool, man. I'm glad that you chose it because I have been meaning to get into some Chrome. I've been hearing about them for the past few years. I know that the records are really hard to come by. I doubt I'll ever get my hands on one for a reasonable price.
Well, you might be able to get a reissue. Like I said,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think because Cleopatra,
Okay.
but getting the originals, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, it might be. I don't know.
But,
I haven't looked into that.
But so it's weird, like, so I've heard a lot about this band because of you and because of all the other members of Arab on Radar, because, and then Rick Pelletier, I spoke with him before, and when he was one of my earlier guests too, before I was telling them to bring on their record of their choice. So I had him feature Stooges Funhouse.
Yeah.
Which was fine, which he loves, and everyone loves that fucking record. I mean,
Yeah.
we might as well start the podcast of, like, you know, the Stooges Funhouse, like, appreciation show.
Exactly.
Because every fucking guy I talk to is just like, I want to do Funhouse. It's
Yeah.
like, I already did it. You know? But so Chrome is actually this, like, kind of this thread between a lot of these bands in Providence.
Yeah.
You know, Six Finger Satellite specifically because of what Rick was telling me and his admiration for them, and he wanted to do one of these records.
Oh, he did, yeah.
I didn't know which one he wanted to, but so I've listened to it.
I mean, Dancing Jakes. I mean, all these guys. I mean, it's like the whole Eric. I mean, like you said, Eric. All yeah. I mean, I'm sure Pete Prescott, that he had on here, probably was a fan. I'm sure. You know, it's like it's just like, yeah.
Basically, anyone that does like noise, no wave, punk, industrial, weird noise shit is gonna like them.
Absolutely.
And you know, I mean, if they don't know them yet, they're gonna come across it eventually. So there's definitely some like obvious similarities and comparisons that we can make. You know, like listening to this record, I don't know what song title it was, but I definitely we'll get into it and then you'll hear it. And there's some parts I was just like, oh yeah, this sounds just like Arab on Radar. And then like, I don't remember who I was talking to about it, but somebody was telling me, like, I was telling them about, like, you know, oh, this band, like, influenced Arab on Radar, and they were like, yeah, it was just like, yeah, this is like, did you, like, Six Finger Satellite is exactly that band too, like,
Yeah.
they're like a you know, carbon copy basically, which I don't necessarily agree with completely. I can see
No, but
the similarities.
they would. I would think that they would be the first ones to admit this. But there is a couple songs on. They've always, you know, snuck in little influences on their records. You know, you could hear them on every record.
Sure.
Like, I mean, sometimes pretty obvious. And there is like, I think Severe Exposure is where I hear there's a couple songs that are very Chrome inspired. Maybe not this. Like there's a couple riffs that are like very similar.
Right.
Like you can hear it from whether it was from Half Machines or if it was from Third from the Sun or Blood on the Moon. Those records, even Red Exposure too, because yeah. And that's the thing about Chrome too. I should just as a side note, all their records, I mean, Alien soundtracks and Half Machine are very similar in that cut up style. But then when they go to Red Exposure, it's very different album. I mean, it's still Chrome, but it's different. If you listen, it's almost dancier.
Well, they
it's
had
like
a budget by then, because so Red Exposure was their major. Can I call that major label?
oh yeah, right, because it was on
Banquet?
Beggar's Banquet, right? Yeah,
So that
right.
was a big move for them,
Right.
from being like completely self-produced, you
Yep.
know, to being on a label that was actually probably helping them to a degree.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's so that was that. Let's get into the record. I'll go over some of these notes that I had a little bit. I want to listen to some of this son of a bitch. That's so good.
Oh, so good. All right, so.
I want to hear the whole thing now.
Oh yeah, it's so good. I listened to it last night because I wanted to like refresh. I mean, I've listened to it every once in a while anyway, but I was just like, this fucking record is so good. I love the production. It's really raw. It's so like trashy sounding. I mean, one of the things I loved about this record the most is the production. The way it's just as raw as it is. Like it has this almost 4-track feel. Though I'm sure it's more like it's better produced than that. But I know that their production style was hugely influential on Arab on Radar. We kept wanting to get that drum sound because it's such like a live, just trash. Seriously, we would always reference this record. Yeah, it would be like, can we get the Chrome drum sound? And it's just it's just a big part of what like really drew me to this record was how they produce the records, all the different sounds that really make up like what they were as a band, because it's all part of the package to me is how they record their records. Oh, but I also think that Damon Edge, who played the drums, like he plays like, you know, him and Helios both like multi-instrumentalists, but on the first few records he did all the drumming.
Yeah.
And then they did get some guys to do drums on some of the later records, but his drumming style, it's really groove. Like he actually has like some like groove to his drumming. Mm-hmm. You know, you can like almost dance to it, so it's not complete noise. You know.
So you were saying about the drum sound and how it influenced Arab on Radar, very specifically the drums.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever feel like you guys got close on any of the records?
I feel like it was always hard. It was never quite exactly the way we wanted it, and like, because some of what we wanted was like how they recorded it initially. Like we're recording in studios, and I think they recorded in studio too, but I feel like they did a lot of it themselves. So I think some of it was just that they were literally using like sort of maybe low budget equipment, so it sounds like that.
I think so. I mean, because so there's very little information online about this record. Nothing about their recording processes.
I would love to read about that. It's funny, I don't know, is there any books? I've been wanting to read about Chrome anyway, and I haven't looked it up myself.
You're more literate than I am, man. I'm sure that if you wanted to read about Chrome, you would have heard about a book.
Well, I think about it now, I'm like, there was a while where I wanted to read about them, and I haven't looked into if there's a book out there, so if anyone knows about it, let me know on there. You know?
Someone will write the book if they haven't yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure of it, but I'm sure it's all actually also like kind of like wrapped up in like his divorce. You know, I'm sure his wife has some kind of like, you know, rights to his legacy. And then Helios obviously took over the band name. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's any kind of like, you know, legal rift in there between them.
Yeah.
Because it's you know, all of the like those two things, like, you know, them having shared songwriting-ship, and they say that they've had a good relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I never really got a sense of complete falling out, but then at the same time they did split the band up. I'm not sure why it was.
Well, last I saw was that they, an interview I read with Helios said that he was in discussion with Damon about possibly getting back together and reuniting and starting to get the band back together, basically.
Oh, okay.
In '95.
Oh, all right.
But then I guess it was 3 months after they spoke, according to that interview, Damon passed away, which is really gruesome. Let's get into his death for a second. August 1995. He was found dead in his Redondo Beach apartment in California. He had been lying undiscovered for about a month until a neighbor alerted the police.
It's just like such an awful way to go. It's like this like band, this guy, this band that was so I mean influential to at least all the freaks out there and all the underground and more than that. And to think that like that's how his kind of life ended.
Just came to a
like
tragic ending of just not even being noticed.
Not even noticed. Yeah.
Until you started stinking up the place. Can you imagine a month of a dead body laying around in California? Fuck.
I can't even begin to think. I mean, that's so sad. That means that there was nobody that was like his friend. You think if someone was checking in on him, they would have, you know, known within a day or two. Like to think that that's pretty messed up.
No one saw his Facebook post. You know, no one was just like, man, he hasn't posted
Helios,
on Facebook in like a day. That's unheard of.
Yeah, exactly. And Helios wasn't, I guess, around to be checking on him either. So I don't know. It's like, it's
now that you put that into perspective. I mean, I wasn't thinking about that, but you know, supposedly this interview with Helios says that they were in discussions of possibly reuniting 3 months before he dies.
Exactly. So you're like,
you know what? They fucking killed him. That's what it was.
Oh no.
Fuck. There's another conspiracy.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. On this podcast, it'll go out now.
I'm not buying their fucking records. I'm not supporting this guy. He's a fucking murderer. It's like like the Kurt Cobain thing. It's like Courtney killed him.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
He wanted the rights. He wanted to create Cleopatra
Oh
Records.
man.
Like,
Oh,
what am I
this
going to
is.
do to get Cleopatra Records off the ground?
Oh.
I'll release the entire Chrome discography.
This is
okay.
it. It's like QAnon or something. You know, it's
Shit.
just gonna be in the.
We just stumbled onto something a little too big for our britches, Steve. All right, let's appreciate the music. Let's get into track 2. We're just gonna randomly drop this in track 2 somewhere and see where it lands.
In the.
That's our radar right there.
Yeah. I mean, Helios Cree's guitar lines and stuff. So much of that, it's like I realize, I listen back, I'm like, oh my god, I've definitely subconsciously. It's like he's just been embedded in my guitar playing.
Yeah.
Him and Roland S. Howard, like Birthday Party and stuff. It's just like it's like in there, you know.
I feel like it's different. Like I feel like there's a lot more like noisiness to it. Like this song that we were just listening to has a lot of that kind of. It sounds almost like scaly, but you know, you do that kind of work.
Yeah.
You do that like weird fingering work on a lot of the Arbon Radio music. But a lot of the stuff for Chrome Jackson now, it seems like you do a lot more of just like this kind of shredding, repetitive strumming. It seems like I don't know what kind of finger work you're doing. I'm not sure if they're the chords that you're playing or if it's more of going through effects pedals and like kind of creating a different sound out of strumming.
Yes, it's a combination. I mean, you know, it's definitely a lot more chord stuff because I'm trying to create a more open sound, a bigger space because of it just being me. I want to fill the space out.
But
so it requires,
like a loop pedal.
and then I layer with loops and delays and stuff like that. So it's really filling in that sound. But there's definite like chord stuff going on. And yeah, maybe there's a lot less of the chromatic or you know scales or I'm not doing as much scale stuff, but there's parts in the record where I definitely am throwing in like more linear, angular kind of like notes because if once I have a loop going, I can do more melodies like that to sort of go over it. So I think it's a combination of a few of those things. I mean, it's really sometimes it's not really like I'm consciously thinking about doing that. I'm just trying to create like a whole piece. So it's not going to just be like, all right, I have to put in like this sort of scaly guitar line here. It's going to work for what the piece that I'm working on is. And a lot of times because there's loops, like I am creating more like low end sounding things underneath to keep it kind of like keep the groove going or whatever you want to call it, if it's a groove or not. But yeah. I'm trying to create grooves with some of the stuff. So yeah, and honestly, there's even a lot less overall guitar playing that I literally like pick up and play my guitar because what I'm doing most of the time is I'm creating these loops, and sometimes like I do almost like little accents with actual guitar playing over it, where I actually physically put the guitar on and play over it. A lot of times the things are happening in the loops, and I'm like playing around with the loop pedals and actually adjusting the settings and octaves and reverse, doing all this stuff. So like I almost am playing less guitar even though everything is created from the guitar. Because a lot of what happens is I'll come up with an idea, and then when I stick it in the loop pedal, I start fucking with it and adjusting it. So then it's almost like I'm taking the guitar and I'm trying to like throw it through a grinder and sort of make it sound like something else. Yeah. You know? So like a lot, even though I'm obviously still playing guitar and it's all bass from the guitar, I'm trying to almost create things that almost sound like they're not even guitar. Yeah. You know, I'm trying, but yet I'm still using like the instrument that I know the most to sort of create those sounds.
That makes sense. Yeah, but that must be the way I was hearing it. Like, because I know it doesn't sound like a guitar playing necessarily. Right. But yeah, like manipulation through effects pedals and stuff like that. Of course, that makes more sense.
I mean, it's what I have been doing a lot more of that. I mean, there's a couple songs on the record that like I don't play like if you see me live, I'm not, and I know you have, like there's there's some songs where I'm not playing the guitar at all, like I'm just using the pedal. But all the stuff that I did was made with the guitar. At least on these last couple of records, I've done some stuff with slide guitar before, and also like clarinet and stuff. But usually I'm playing the guitar. But it's just become this thing with that loop pedal. It's like kind of like my whole world is sort of in that loop pedal now.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm interested. I'm totally into this band. I mean, like, it's weird because, you know, putting on just the portions of the songs, it almost doesn't do it service because it sounds so cool. Like, I really love the way this is sounding way more than what I've been listening to on the earbuds. But I know where the songs go.
But there are like pieces, like again, like when I was listening back yesterday, there's this song. I think it's well, there's a couple of them on the second side. I mean, I know we haven't gotten there yet, but where like the guitar, some of the things he's doing on the guitar are so, I mean, they were so influential to me. Just like these very strange scales and like melodies that there's no doubt that like the first time I heard them, I was like, oh my God, I need to do this kind of music.
Yeah.
And it I don't know, but like you said, since we can't hear the whole album, you really do have to listen to it all the way through and like just freak out. Just
let it fucking mess with you for a little while and just try to digest it, because I don't think I know it yet. I mean, I've listened to it a few times now, and I'm just like, I still don't even know where these tracks begin and end.
Yeah.
Like,
I still feel that way. I mean, when I went every time I listen to it, I feel like I'm still hearing things in it.
So how did you feel going into Aragon Raider, going into Umbrella? Like, because were they already starting, or were you one of the founding members?
Oh no, we started the band together.
But
it
all
was
Eric of you?
Yeah, well, it started with Eric and I. So,
okay. And then Craig came in, I presume.
Yeah, but Craig came in. I mean, it's weird because Craig is he is Arab on Radar, right?
Right.
But he wasn't playing with us when we first started. Like, Umbrella was Eric and I, and then we got Jeff. We had like Eric had answered an ad and found Jeff, and so then the three of us started it up, and then I got Andrea to come on board to play with us, and then we ended up with this revolving cast of drummers. In Umbrella.
Oh.
And then when we finally landed John Von Ryan, Jay Ryan's brother, who played at Von Ryan's Express, and he became our drummer. And then I will say it was actually because of John that we changed the name. John was like, I'm in the band now, I want to change the name.
He wanted to change to Aragon Raider?
Well, he wanted to change the name of the band.
Okay.
When he came in, I think he kind of like wanted to be like, I'm in the band now, I want us to be another name. And so,
right.
Like I guess he was maybe thinking, I don't want to feel like I'm like being a member joining this band.
Right.
But it was a good thing because then we came up with the name Arab on Radar. And then John played with us for a little while, and then he left, and then Craig came in. And Craig had been friends with Eric for years.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of how that started. So it actually, that all happened within a span of like, geez, almost seems like maybe a year or so that all those changes happened.
Yeah.
Because we played shows as Umbrella too. We did a few shows. We even did some recordings.
Right? You guys put out one cassette.
Umbrella, no. As Umbrella, we just put out a song on a CD.
Oh, okay.
It was on that JJ's compilation. It was the Over the Counter Records. It was that oh my God, what was that CD compilation called? Oh my God, it had lots of good people on it. It had like Von Ryan Express. It had Drop Dead. It had Small Factory. All these Providence bands. Mm-hmm. I still have the CD somewhere. We had a song on that, and we never put out. The tape was the Arab on Radar tape. That was that was when we were Arab on Radar, and that was our demo tape that we used to sell at shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's weird to think of Craig not being like in the band from the start, but he kind of always was. It's like he was always a friend. It's like he's just like he was there looming. You know,
He was
he knew
waiting
he was
for
gonna.
his moment. He was just like, when you get rid of this fucker?
Yeah, I know.
Where's this guy going? Let's take it home.
But I mean, it's always funny to think of Craig not being there from the beginning, because it's like it's obvious like no one knew us really before Craig was in the, you know, so it's like.
Right. One more question before we continue on with the next song. So you start working with Eric. So Pollinate was not like Arab on Radar. So where, like, did you notice that like your the way that you wanted to try to start writing was morphing into something that needed to be in a different project? It couldn't be part of Pollinate.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you ever saw us play, there were like the songs that I wrote, and then there was the songs that like the singer wrote, and they were so different.
Yeah.
So we were two different bands in the same band, and it was. I mean, we had similar music interests. That was the reason I was playing with them. We both liked bands like Six Finger Satellite and stuff like that. It's kind of what got us together, but they wanted to go into more of that or in a swirly kind of early 90s sort of sound, you know, with the soft loud bands and like Swerve Driver and like My Bloody Valentine and stuff, which is, you know, good stuff. Sure. I mean, I love My Bloody Valentine stuff. Not that they were like My Bloody Valentine. I would say it was more poppy than that, but it was like they were kind of going in more of that a poppier indie rock, and I definitely didn't want to do that at the time. So in a way, it was a blessing that they kicked me out. It's almost like they knew that I wasn't going to be really into that.
Yeah, well, it's a mature thing to do. Would be like, you know, it's like, you're not digging this either, man. Like,
it wasn't. Yeah, it wouldn't have worked, because then I wouldn't have wanted to go in that direction. So I could see myself leaving, and that's probably why Andrea left before I did. She was, she didn't really want to do that either. I mean, nothing against that stuff. It's just wasn't. Yeah, I mean, you can see the difference from like going from that.
You have you had such a bigger calling. No, I'm serious. Like to create a really different style of music. I mean, like, you know, I would venture to say that, you know, 20 years down the road from now, Arab on Radar will be looked back at as like this weird, obscure rock band, kind of like Chrome, where they'd be like, man, no one, like, I never got to see them, like these fucking 15-year-olds 20 years from now. They're not even born right now. And, you know, they hear those records, and they're just like, what the fuck? And then they go to YouTube, and then they see you guys play, and they're just like, what the fuck were they doing? Like, what is this? You know?
Yeah, and I can say that we probably had a similar sort of financial and record label thing, because it was like we were always on some different label. I mean, you know, small little labels, yep. And luckily they're keeping some of our stuff in stock, but you know, some of those records, you know, I mean, it's like our first couple of records, like you're not going to get those on vinyl anymore.
Do. You know how much those are going for?
Yeah, I do know. Yeah, I have looked it up.
It's like, yeah, you know, I've been broken a couple times.
Yeah.
The bands I was thinking of before, Throbbing Gristle and The Residents, as far as like other bands that were kind of contemporary.
Yes, The Residents. That's totally true, and it's because they were from there. But Throbbing Gristle is not from.
I don't know if they're
San
from.
They're from England.
Right. Weird, but they're still.
But The Residents, I think, are from San Francisco area, so that makes sense. There was also that label that they were on. The Residents were on. Oh, what is it? Man's Ruin? No, is it? There's another band, MX80, too. Yes. MX80. Yes, so they're also of that period, that and
of, like, psychedelic kind of like new wavy, no wavy noise rock stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't remember why we were mentioning. I was trying to think of the band names earlier.
Yeah, but definitely The Residents for sure. Although, yeah, it's like, and The Residents would be so similar to it in the sort of way that they were, you know, their whole like the artwork and their whole vibe and
Their whole
the
gimmick
bizarre,
thing, just like
yeah.
complete anonymity, like
Yep.
no band members, no distinguishable band members.
Yeah, especially them. No one knows who they are.
Yeah, and still to this day, it's like decades
Still
later,
don't
no one knows
know.
who the fuck they are.
It's fascinating. It's kind of incredible. I want to find out that it's like it'll be like some famous politician or something that you like, and they like had all this time they've like had this like secret identity.
That would be so weird. What if they're part of the like Illuminati? What
Yeah.
if they're like fucking lizard people?
Yeah.
They're the lizard
They
people.
are the
and they
lizard
make
people.
fucking crazy music, of course.
That's what it is. It's got to be it.
Whoa. Man, we are like tapping some major conspiracy
We
theories
find
right now.
yeah, we've figured out Helios Creed killed Damon Edge. Now we've got the residents or
Fuck, what else are we
lizard
gonna come
people.
up with? This is
Yeah.
fucking amazing, man. Alright, so yeah, no shows as of right now, but so the tape it was released when exactly? It was like 2 months ago or a month ago?
No, more than that now. Oh, when did it come out? Jeez. Forgetting now. It may have been June.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah. Well, and so
And
you
yeah.
have the cassette tape, so those are still available.
Yep.
You can get them through your Bandcamp site.
Yep.
Or so you were telling me about Daniel Bouchard, you said?
Boucher, Dan
Boucher.
Boucher. He runs the tape label
Yeah.
Wrong Hole Archival Bureau. He's also a great guy. I feel like he's a super great guy. You should talk to him. He
Sure.
was in the band Neptune from Boston.
Yeah.
And he's doing he's doing a couple like his own noise projects, sound projects, Golden Shores, and that he has. But he's also playing now with Alec Redfern.
Oh, really?
And they ironically they did just play a show on
Zoom?
streaming.
Okay.
It was they're called Say You Love Satan, and it's Dan and Alec and this woman who sings with them that I don't know, but it was really good. But he put the tape out. He had asked me about putting the tape out, and thought that would be fun to do. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do in terms of shows. I did get asked to play a show recently.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of a little bit hesitant about doing, even though it was going to be outdoors, and I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah.
You know, I am considering doing the streaming thing.
Yeah.
And finding out how to make that work. I have I have a Zoom and I have a laptop, and I could probably like sync things up and make it work. So Zoom meaning the recorder. I mean, of course, you get the Zoom.
Right.
You know, you get this Zoom, two different Zoom things
Are you
going
talking
on.
about live streaming?
It's like the live
basically.
streaming, yeah. And but there are options out there. I know that people have been doing Twitch and
Well, if you're just a solo musician, I mean,
Yeah.
it's up to you to create the sound. I mean, you
Yeah.
basically want to have like a decent like live mic, I guess. That's all that really would matter, I guess.
yeah, exactly.
That you can
You
plug
just
into
sort of
your
have an
computer.
audio interface and
Right.
put it in through the
It's doable.
It is doable. I mean, I saw like that those guys did that performance the other night, and they live streamed it.
Yeah.
But someone was videotaping them too, so it was like they actually had someone there moving around, making it look a little dynamic,
Oh.
so it wasn't just still.
Well, you got your wife. Yeah, well, you should do it.
It's true. Absolutely. It's true. Yep. We talked about figuring something out where we have a setup in the basement now. She actually has like walls set up to do her artwork, and I have my like little space down there. But could project things off of her studio wall, and that could be interesting. So I got to figure it out. See, I mean, it looks like we're going to be.
At least you're interested in the whole production value. That's very important for the live streaming thing.
I mean, I feel like I don't want to.
Put some effort into it.
That's the thing. I don't want to do it if I can't make it look decent, because it would suck to do it. Even right out of the gate, I don't want it to look bad.
Right.
So, and also I want it to sound right. So I just haven't done enough of the research but I think I have everything I need to make it happen.
Cool. All right.
It's just.
Well, if you need anything, I might have something. I might have a thing or two you could use that could probably maybe help.
Oh, thanks
Maybe.
a lot. Yeah.
Because I want
Well,
to
yeah,
do
'cause
it.
you're-
I would love to have you do something on, that we can see live. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And then
Thank you.
we gotta hear these live. We gotta hear these
Yeah.
songs. So, Steve, It's been a pleasure having you again, man.
James.
2
love
hours
it.
like nothing. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
I don't want to keep you because it's getting dark
Oh yeah.
out here. The bugs are gonna start coming out. The coyotes are gonna fucking come after us.
That'll be the way to end it.
Yeah,
The
man.
way they end the episode.
Yeah, at least this time I'll have a weapon. I'll be able to like throw a beer can
Oh,
at them or something.
totally. Yeah.
I'll tear it in half and have it go at it.
No, but thanks so much for having me back. I really enjoyed it. It's like, it's just fun. I mean, it's great that we get to hang out. And this is
Yeah.
a great way to make that happen.
Absolutely,
And,
Steve. I appreciate it. I mean, I love, like I said before, I love talking to you.
Same here, buddy.
Anytime,
man. Love it. Well, thank you for wanting to do this record. I think it was fun to
I
do
want to
this
listen
record.
to the whole thing now.
Yeah.
If you can hang out, I'll just play the whole thing.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
All right, so Chrome Jackson, Majestic Flap Flap, Bandcamp.com, Chrome Jackson, Bandcamp.com. You have these cassettes available.
They are available.
No album, just cassette.
It's
And
just
then
a
the
cassette,
digital's
but it
out.
does have the digital, and you could also just purchase the digital streaming files. You know, you could without buying the tape. The tape has the digital card, but if you want to have the physical product, if someone wants to put it on vinyl, that'd be awesome. But I still feel like I gotta, make it worth their while. But we gotta sell these 100 tapes first before
Right.
someone would be like, "Oh yeah, I'll put that on vinyl."
Yeah. Well, if you could at least do some shows.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
so you kind of have to wait
Yeah.
for that to happen anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
no sense in making product that you can't promote.
Yeah, people want to see you doing it. They,
For
you know,
sure.
they will buy it if they see you, and it's like, it's
Especially
not-
you. Fucking a madman.
Well, hey, thanks. That's
Maniac.
not. That's nice of you to say. Well, thank you, man.
That's the nicest compliment I've ever heard.
Thanks,
You're
I'm
a
a
maniac.
madman, no maniac. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh God.
Hey, well, thank you, Steve. Seriously.
Thanks, James.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks very much. It's such a pleasure. I love it.
High five. Oh.